Let's start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, so we just finished Ladder of Fall, and Sushil ji sent a very nice picture of Ladder of Fall. Everybody saw that? So just to recap, if you start, Hari Om Geeta.
Hari Om.
Okay, she's connecting to the audio right now. Kamla ji and Geeta just joined.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Geeta. Welcome to the group.
Thank you.
This is Neelu.
Oh, where's Neelu? Oh, down there. Okay, hi, Neelu. I can't see her face.
Oh,
I can see the
हम
lower.
छुप के बैठे हैं.
छुप
अब
के।
दिख रहा है?
हाँ नहीं, अभी भी आधा चेहरा दिख रहा है.
Yeah, it's better if you have to just raise your device.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
just
I can
finished
see
the
it.
prayer
Hi.
and we're starting, and I was saying that last week we did the Ladder of Fall. So just to recap, it starts with the wrong thinking, and then it becomes attachment to that thought, and the attachment turns into intense desire, and when something obstructs in that desire, it bursts into anger. It becomes, you get delusion, gives rise to delusion, and because of delusion you have loss of memory, so memory bank is not available to you, and then your vivek is gone, meaning you cannot see from right from wrong, and that's why you end up saying terrible things sometimes. And so,
Namaste.
No, she's talking.
Namaste. Namaste. Very nice to see you, Atmaji. So, delusion happens. Sorry, I got a little lost. Delusion, loss of memory, and then destruction of discrimination, so cannot see right from wrong. And that is a faculty humans have. And if that's gone, you become like an animal. And they call it destruction of a person, but temporary mental disability, you can call it, that all the goals and all that are not pursued then. So until we learn how to stop this chain, we cannot progress in the spiritual world. So anybody has any question on this particular topic before we go further? Everybody got it? Okay, so now begins ladder of rise, obviously. And as I said, that all these particular concepts they have throughout Bhagavad Gita. He's going to open it up more and more and more, because there is so much to it that, we know that just by studying or learning it intellectually, it doesn't happen. That's why you have to see all the little nuances and all the little details, and try to catch it from wherever our mind can understand. Somewhere you attach that's how you do the progress. That's why he talks more and more in detail. So verse 64 is the next one. So I'm going to just chant once and then twice, and the second time you can do it in your own homes. Raga dvesha viyuktaistu, Raga dvesha viyuktaistu, Vishayandindriyeshcharan, Vishayandindriyeshcharan, Atmavashye vidheyatma, Atmavashye vidheyatma, Prasadam adhigacchati. So raga dvesha viyuktehi, free from attraction and repulsion. So this is in detail he has said, and this theme will continue because this is a very, very important point in progress, that, rag and dvesh, and you have to rise above it, basically, So just keep that in mind. Tu is but, Vishayan is objects, Indriyahi with senses, Charan moving among, Atmavashyahi self-restrained, Vidheyatma the self-controlled, Prasadam is to peace, Adhigachati is attains. So just the English translation, if one of you can read, maybe Meena ji can read the English translation.
But the self-controlled man, moving among objects with his sense under restraint and free from both attraction and repulsion, attains peace.
So basically, he's talking about that a self-controlled man. So one who has risen above rag and dvesh. So now we have to remember the whole process he told us, how to rise above it. And in that process, that whole thing about karma yoga comes. Okay? And the karma yoga is remember the 5 things that I had mentioned. Are we doing that, Samatmam buddhi, have the equanimity. Samarpana buddhi, you have to dedicate to the higher cause. Swadharma buddhi, what is right for me as my swadharma, what is right and wrong. Asanga buddhi, say detached. And prasada buddhi, whatever comes to me, I take it as prasad. If I'm following all that, I will start getting about rag and dvesh. So, we cannot forget whatever we have learned previously. And another way of looking at it is, if I'm keep doing karma yoga properly with these 5 things, it will turn into upasana, okay, dedication to the higher and higher. Then it turns into knowledge, and that will turn into samadhi. And when we talked about samadhi, we talked about not just the physical act of, sitting down and layana, but samadhi, having that established pure intellect all the time, balanced intellect. So, and that's what it is. And then what he says over here, he gets free from that rag and dvesh, likes and dislikes, in English we say it, and then attains peace. So, यहाँ पर है ना, very important word he used for is a prasad, it call it. So when we go to the mandir, we love prasad, right? It's always something sweet. So basically, that if you have done a spiritual sadhana, that's the result you get. That's very symbolic, that prasad. Real prasad is this one, actually. When you rise above likes and dislikes, a peace kind of dawns on your being, and that peace is a prasad from God. That is a true prasad, because that is a true happiness, bliss, whatever you want to call it. So we should keep that prasad thing in mind. And then coming back to rag and dvesh, why does it happen to us? The reason it happens is because of ignorance. We forget the oneness, we forget who God is, and we think that our happiness lies in the objects. Sorry, somebody saying something? Oh, okay, I'll just put on mute. So we mistakenly think that the world of objects is the one that gives us happiness. It gives us fleeting joy, true. But it always ends up in, pain and suffering and all that. So the more we connect to the higher and know that peace is something, which bubbles from inside me, it is not in the object. I'm just superimposing on the object, I think. And then we have discussed in the past many times that same object can give pain to one person and happiness to another, So that means, that proves that it is not, scientifically speaking, that the happiness is not in the object. And the other point is, scientifically, is happiness, I always feel it in my own heart. So it is something, and the only reason, another way of scientifically looking at it, when my agitation is down, that's when I feel happy and peaceful. Anything can be happening around in the world, but if my mind is peaceful, I feel happy. And sometimes the world may be peaceful, but if I'm not peaceful inside, I'm not going to be. So, those are some of the points to remember. And how do I get there? There are several things we can do, and the same 5 things, but, talking in simple language, continue to do my duty. And when I accept whatever comes in the line of my duty, whether it's good, bad, happy, sad, I just keep doing it. Then my mind gets trained, and then slowly that peace comes in, and which is like a prasad, So I kind of gave the background, and now Swamiji has some other points and all that, and that we can read now. Go ahead. Anybody have any questions? Sorry, with this comments.
I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What is the secret of happiness?
That's exactly what he's talking about. That when we learn to get over our likes and dislikes. So likes and dislikes, it's not even getting over, it's rising above it. Krishna Bhagavan explained. I'll tell you why. Because we are all born in this world. So we are born with likes and dislikes. A small baby also has likes and dislikes. It starts showing up. But what this does is that once we learn this method of karma yoga and all that, I don't get swayed by it. नहीं तो हमारे सारे झगड़े likes and dislikes से होते हैं. I don't like this person. Political देख लो, घर में देख लो, भाई बहन का देख लो, कुछ भी देख लो, उसके core में वही है, And Swamiji said, but if we look at the oneness, then all of a sudden the likes and dislike dissolves. So what Swamiji said, that when you have likes and dislike, you have already rejected 50% of the world. You're not even enjoying that. Immediately you have done that, And, in the food and all, I have seen that when in the beginning, when you are young, you have likes and dislikes, right? Then you start learning that, something is really good for you and all that. And when you eat it first time, you don't like it. And then you start eating it. All of a sudden, because in back of mind, this is healthy, you develop a taste and you start liking it, So he's saying that happiness is something inside you. It will show up when your mind is quiet. Your mind can become quiet when your likes and dislikes are down or you rise above them. So that's the simplest formula, if you want to look. There are so many different ways to approach this happiness thing, but because we are studying this is the context in it. Does that make sense, Jagdish ji? No?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. But it's a hard.
I have to think about it.
Yeah, think about it. Yeah. If it was that easy, we would have all gotten it because it's such a simple thing. But if tomorrow I still I'm swayed with my likes and dislikes. So that's why he said those 5 things, that's the practice we have to do slowly and steadily. And then when you start getting there's another way of looking at it. When I don't get disturbed by too many things, I should know that I'm on the right path. When things are happening up and down, and that we know it happens all the time. So when those things are happening, I can handle it better and all that. That means I'm rising above my likes and dislikes. That's one landmark you can see.
If we follow one formula, we can be happy too. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
The formula, I think I told before also that 10% is our attitude and 90% is our attitude and 10% are the situations.
True.
So situations happening, if we keep our attitude positive, they won't affect us and we'll be happy. So control our own attitude and happiness will follow.
So one of the things is that when it comes to all these things, these statements and all that, they sound very wonderful and they are true. But the question is how to get there. Because all of us know, none of us are like, we are, all of you have studied so much of this. You've already had so many paths. But when it comes to end result, we still are not there. So that's why this is slow and steady. And these are all tips given. You can catch any tip you want. But the more we understand it deeply, the more chance that we will pursue this. you know. So I
Yeah.
think that best thing we can do is continue to study, reflect, and slowly it will start sinking in. And when you see the results, and you say, yes, I'm on the right path. You know, just by doing. Sorry, go ahead.
Another way is you don't want to change the world, but accept it as it is.
Very good point.
Yes.
Yes, because we get very gung ho on, I mean, if it is in your path of your karma yoga to go change the world, go and change. Nobody's saying don't do it. But when we are studying this, we have to remember that world, we did not make this world. Neither we can destroy this world. There's some Ishwar is the one who's doing all that. I am just here for myself, in a sense, not from the egotistic point of view, but to improve myself, to raise my vibration, you can call it, or a spiritual path or self-realization. So in the end, it is me only. I don't try to go and fix the world and fix the people around you, fix your family, fix all that. This is a very subjective journey. And if you think about it, meditation is nothing but when I think everything is the way it is supposed to be, then my mind becomes quiet. Otherwise, if I start, I have to fix this, do that, then I will never be able to be peaceful. So there are so many aspects. But here what Bhagwan is focusing on is, rag and dvesh. And if you really think about it, they are two sides of the same coin. We separate them, but you know that something you intensely love, you can intensely hate also. If some circumstance changes, it just goes both ways. So he's just telling you to rise above it. That's all. Okay? So let's see what Swamiji has to say on this. Meenaji, you can start reading.
He alone who with perfect self-control goes through life among the infinite number of sense objects, each impinging upon him and trying to bind him with its charm, and approaches them with neither love nor hatred, comes to enjoy peace. By running away from sense objects, nobody can assure himself an internal peace, because the inner disturbance depends not upon the presence or the absence of the sense objects in the outer world, but essentially upon the mind's agitations for procuring the desirable object or for getting rid of the undesirable objects.
Okay, so one point that Swamiji is making over here, very important one. If you see this verse, it is saying that the self-controlled man moving among objects with his sense under restraint. So he is not sitting in a cave, because Bhagavad Gita is very much for the people like us. Because somebody can say, how can I rise above my likes and I have to be in the world, I have to be with friends, I have to do, 100 excuses. So he's saying, no, this is the person who moves among the object, and then he has self-control. And then he makes another point that suppose if somebody decides to sit in the cave, it does not mean he has risen above likes and dislikes, because his mind will run then. His mind will go into the objects of his desire. I don't like this or I like that. So just sitting also, it has to do something with your internal mind and, heart and all that. That's what he's saying. And then he's also saying that mind's agitation is because of we try to gain something or get rid of. Not just objects, even our emotions. Or even people, we do that, in a party, I don't want that person to come there. That person annoys me so much. We don't want, I want those 5 people to come. We do that at every level of our life. So he's just saying that, to rise above all this, and that true peace is going to come only then. Because if we stay in that lower realm of likes and dislikes, peace is never going to come to us. No matter how many hours we sit in meditation, it's not going to help if you don't practice this. That's what he's trying to say. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But a master of wisdom with perfect self-control moves among the objects of the world with neither any love for nor any particular aversions against them, and on such And on such a man, the ineffectual sense objects try but vainly to smile or grin at. Wherever I go, my shadow must play all around me according to the position of the light. But the shadow can neither entangle me in love nor destroy me in my hatred. The outer world of objects is able to whip man because man himself lends the power to the objects to beat him down.
So now he's talking about the world, that what is the relationship of the world to me, because we always have this notion, if we have not studied all these things or we have not contemplated upon it, we think that the world is doing that to us. That's why you hear the statement, world is so bad, people are, Kal Yug aa gaya hai, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. You keep going in that, but Swamiji is explaining that the world, outer world, is just because we are indulging in it. That's why it is doing. And I have he's going to explain one more thing further, but this Drishtanta, I like it very much. So there was this person who goes to a wise man or a Swami, and he starts, just like we have this problem. Arey, meri to dunya mein ye problem hai, wo problem hai, all the problem he started saying, and the world is really beating me down, kind of thing, his thing. So what should I do? So the Swami said, okay, right now I don't want to give you an answer, come tomorrow morning. He gave him a time. So 8 o'clock, come. So he came 8 o'clock. So उन्होंने देखा कि वो स्वामी जी अपनी जगह पे नहीं बैठे हैं. Then he started looking around, and there was a tree, and he was hugging the tree. He said, what are you doing, Swami ji? He's saying, the tree is holding me. Tell the tree to leave me. So the guy said, what are you saying? You are yourself holding on, and then you're saying trees hugging, So he's saying, but that's the same thing you're telling about the world. The world is bothering me. You are the one who's hugging the world, constantly thinking, And I thought that Drishtant was like, it really explained this whole thing, that when we complain about the world or the family or friends or, anything in the world, we are the one who are courting constantly. But, your Miraji sitting over here, you love Ramayana, and in that he says, Siya Ram mein sab jag jani, right? He's saying that whole world is God only. So then what am I going to reject and what am I going to accept? So if somebody thinks like that, they're not going to hate or love anything. It's like, on the whole, this is it. This is my God. Sometimes he's like this, sometimes he's like that. But if you kind of keep moving in that direction, then the rag, dvesh immediately starts going away, So this is what this paragraph is kind of explaining, and he's going to give an example now, next one. Anybody has any question about that? Yeah. You have to unmute. Go ahead, Geeta.
Where we keep saying don't try to change the world, I think that has to be taken with a caveat. And for that, I like the prayer by St. Francis of Assisi. I know we've all heard it. I just want to repeat it.
Yes.
Lord, give me the courage to change what can be changed, the patience to bear what cannot be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Beautiful. Yes. So I think that what you said it very correctly. So that means it doesn't say that, this is very important what you said, because otherwise we'll say, if I see something on the road, should I not do, because wo bhi Bhagwan hi hai, but Bhagwan ne buddhi bhi di hai, right? So if the stone is lying in the middle of the road, by all means move it. Or if in this pandemic you can help somebody by financially or other please do it. So don't take this in a wrong sense, but sometimes people get overzealous and they cross their boundaries and then because the terrorism is the same thing. If you talk to them, they think they are doing the greatest job, correct? But in that process, how many people they are hurting? So you lose the balance. That's why that balance is a very important thing. And then even when we are doing something, you do it by rising above likes and dislikes and love and hate. That's what it's doing. Even Krishna Bhagwan told Arjun is fighting the war. He has to kill his own people, but he doesn't want him to kill in hate. He wants him to kill it as a sense of duty. And that's why with that 5 things that I talked about, we have to really what is my swadharma? Because somebody can be in a position that they have to do this, then you do it. So all these statements cannot be taken just by themselves, like Geeta is saying, that you have to take it in a holistic way. But the reason I'm saying that because in our over enthusiasm of changing the world, we forget that we have come here to change ourselves, not the world. It will get changed. If God wants to get something done from us, if we purify our mind, He will get it done through us. And we will do a job and we will know what is right and what is wrong. So just keep those things in mind and don't take these statements in extremes. Then there is that problem what Geeta ji is saying. Any other comment? Okay, go ahead.
Supposing there is a lunatic who is whipping himself and weeps in pain. His sorrows can be ended only when he is persuaded not to take the whip in his hand. He can be advised, even if he keeps the whip in his hand, not to swing his arms in the fashion in which he is doing at present. Similarly, here the mind wields the objects and gets itself beaten. It is told as an advice that an individual who lives in self-control will no longer lend his own life's dynamism to the objects to persecute him through his own sentimental aversions to or love for these objects.
Okay, so whoever doesn't have the book is basically giving an example of a person. उसने वो हिंदी में बोलते ना चाबुक को हाथ में पकड़ के वो अपने आप को मार रहा है constantly, and then he's screaming, and so the objects in the world or the things in the world are like that. You beating them with yourself with them. So if he's saying that या तो वो चाबुक ही मत उठाओ या चाबुक उठाया तो मारो मत अपने आप को. Don't hit yourself with it. If you don't hit, you're not gonna get the pain. That's what basically he's saying. So I think that the other way to look at it is the objects or the things in the world. You should have a control what goes into your mind. Because, today we have talked about this so much. If you sit there and listen to the news all day, all they do is psychoanalyze, criticize, उसने ये बोला, उसने बोला. Solution तो बहुत कम लोग दे रहे हैं. They are just constantly, and then your mind gets polluted. So it's up to you. Remote is in your hand. Turn it off. Listen to it once and just let it go. Or sometimes, this forwards about pandemic, that's all 90% is that's what you get, and some of it's not even true. So we are the intelligent people. God has given intelligence, so we have to have that whip in our hand, leke maro mat. Just that's the example here he's giving you. Use your vivek buddhi, so calmly. And then further that same example he's going to explain more.
When the lunatic is taught not to wield the whip and strike himself, he is immediately saved from the sorrows of the whip. Similarly, here, when a mind is trained in these two aspects, to live in self-control and to move among the sense objects with neither attachment for nor aversion to them, the disturbances and agitations in the mind caused by the sense enchantments are all immediately brought under control. This condition of the mind is called tranquility or peace, prasad. This is symbolically represented in the sweets distribution after every puja in all religions, which is also called among the Hindus as prasad or bhog, meaning one who has during the ritual practiced perfect self-control and God contemplation comes to enjoy as a result of his actions a tranquility in the mind, which becomes spiritual grace or divine peace, Ishwara Prasad.
So here he's explained it very clearly, right? Firstly, he said that two things that we have to train, A and B he put, live in self-control. So, overindulgence of senses definitely doesn't help in this. So that's the self-control. And then there was that example of that tortoise. Remember how that example he gave earlier? The tortoise withdraws himself when he sees any danger. If you see too much bombardment, you got to shut down your senses. And that's why I think that when too much is happening, go in a room, shut everything, and just say some japa, some bhajan. We have so many, little tricks that we can do to quieten our mind. But and move among sense objects with neither attachment nor aversion. So this is the likes and dislikes. So when we do go out in the world, accept the world the way it is, do your duty definitely. If in the line of duty, whatever you need to do, that he's not stopping you from that. So that's the most important thing over here. And that's what, again, we have to come back to it. In our line of duty, we cannot stop what we are doing. Even if the results from the worldly point of view are not so good, we have to keep doing that. We have discussed that in length. So if in our line of duty some joy comes, by all means dance and enjoy. Some problem comes, then bear it. It's like little pinpricks of life we have to constantly. So that's what moving among the objects, that's what he's talking about. And then the prasad, we already discussed that it is that peace. And then one example that one of the Swamis gave, and we talk about this many times, that sometimes we experience that peace just like that also, even when we are not on this path. It's like whatever I like to do, with nature. Nature is a very peaceful thing, right? All of us agree. So किसी को mountain अच्छा लगता है, किसी को ocean, किसी को meadows, and you just sit there, and for no reason at all, you're feeling extremely happy and peaceful. I'm sure everybody has experienced that. And the scientific reason behind that is because you're not trying to gain anything, or you're not asking anything to run away. In the nature, we never go and criticize nature. Hey, why this mountain is like this? Or I want to take the mountain to my house because I love it so much. We don't do that. So that's where that vairagya is there, and you accept exactly the way it is, and that's why you get the peace. It's such a simple thing, right? But we all experience that. And that's what he's just saying, that in the world also, you accept everything, and then the peace will automatically come. You won't have to search for peace. I think that's another very important point over here. Sometime, I want to be peaceful. Usi mein agitation ho jata hai. But here he's saying, if you rise above likes and dislikes and do all the self-control and move among the objects without likes and dislikes, peace will dawn upon you automatically. And that is a real peace, not forced one. But it's like a beautiful prasad given to you by God. That's what he's talking about here.
So ultimately, he's talking about that control of mind is the key.
Mind is everything. Yes, mind is everything. Because that is like it's like, in later on, it will come in chapter 6 and all that. It's compared almost to, in the worldly example, you can compare it to a door. Okay, door is, you can go in or out. Or doorknob. So
Jagdish ji, I think I found the answer. So start raising this child now, the mind. Start disciplining it now. More we discipline it, more happy we will be.
And go ahead.
What is the definition of mind?
Well, I think one day we'll have to have a class on what mind is. Mind is that they call it a flow of thought. Mind is not like the antakaran, jisko bolte hai na. And then we have talked about it. If you want to go in a very technical thing, is man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. All together is mind. So it's a subtle, matter. We cannot see it, but we all know we have a mind and our thoughts are there. And then you can distinguish between just the lower mind and upper mind. Lower mind is all the emotions and things like that, or data collecting, and the higher mind is our discriminative faculty. This is right, this is wrong. And Viveka Buddhi is when we talk about Viveka Buddhi in Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads and all that. What is real and what is unreal? Real is that mind, consciousness. To distinguish. Right.
Is mind another word for consciousness?
No. So mind gets its power from consciousness. Okay. See, when the Western people talk about conscious, we think we understand something that's called consciousness. But Vedantic one, that's what not is consciousness. And now consciousness studies are happening in a lot of major universities. They have a department now, and then now NDE, near death experience people, they have come with such vivid account of what consciousness is, where they felt oneness, and even when they were away from their body, means they're how do I say, they don't even have word to describe it, but they try very hard to describe. They're risen above their body and they can see everything without the eyes. So much account is there right now because the internet, it has exploded all these things. And some of them who had the near-death experience like 30-40 years ago, they said they didn't know how to talk to people about it. So they just kept it inside. But now that they found other people who had the same experience, so the mind, what we think of the mind, you may be thinking of brain. Brain is just an instrument, in this physical realm, you can call it an instrument. But when they talk about mind, when we die, it travels with us. It's a subtle body, they call it. So we have to, if you want to study mind and all, we need another couple of classes actually to do this.
So one video I sent last time on Jill Bolt Taylor, I don't know if anybody watched, but she had a stroke and one portion of the mind, got activated.
The
And
right side.
What she talks about is there's a thing called I am. And that is the connection between that consciousness and our mind, which makes us feel like I am. And hers got destroyed. The I am portion got destroyed. So what she was seeing was the consciousness portion of connecting the world and everything. So I think when you ask consciousness, that is part of our brain, but it is not connected till we lose our mind.
I think another simple way to put it is that consciousness is expressed through our brain. Our mind.
Yeah.
That's another way you can. It's like a reflection, like the real consciousness. For example, could be there is a mirror, and there's a sun outside, and the sun is reflecting in the mirror. Consider that as a mind.
And also, I don't think mind can be controlled, because if you listen to Sadhguru, he talks about in that mode when you are there is intellect, where you don't think. It is intuitive. It happens automatically. So the moment you are thinking and making decisions, you are in a lower realm.
I mean, that's why I said that to study the mind, we need many different classes. But just for this purpose, we can call it that mind में जितना भी कचरा भरा हुआ है ना हमारा, simple, so that we can go forward.
Mind means all the thoughts that are flowing.
Yeah, but remember, there are good thoughts and there are bad thoughts. Okay, and then all these six things that we talked about, Kam, Krodh, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya, means, we discussed that, how attachment can bring desire, and desire these are brothers and sisters of desire, right? Jealous. Remember last class we did that, proud ho gaye main, or jealous ho gayi main, things like that. All are, so ये जितना जब भरा हुआ होता है ना हमारे दिमाग में, तब हम लोग spiritually आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते हैं. So it's like cleaning the mind, purified mind when we have, then grace of God happens, and you feel that you experience the oneness. Right now we theoretically we know, but we have not experienced the oneness, so we are trying to move toward that experience, and that experience will only happen when the kuda kachra in our mind will get dissolved. So that's why
when you are meditating, you cannot suppress your thoughts, because then they'll become double and triple. So you have to fight with them and let them go away after a while. And so you empty your mind.
What he's talking about being a witness. That, and I think in the Buddha series, when Buddha went to one of the great rishis, and he was asking him, how should I meditate? So he didn't know how to explain to him. So he said, are you looking at that sky? So he said, yes. So he said, do you see the clouds are coming? He said, yes. And after a while, the clouds go away, but the sky remains. And he said, yes, I'm seeing that. He's saying that's how your thoughts are. You are not your thought. Just think of it as you are the sky. The thoughts come and thought go. It could be good thought, bad thought. You're not concerned with it because it's a temporary thing. And in Mandukya Upanishad, exactly same thing they are talking about, that Turiya state is the main one. Others are just three experiences you go through. Don't get attached to them. So you can take it whatever way you like, but basically he's just saying that you are that consciousness and thoughts are just rising in it and going away. That's it. So I think too much has been given. Yes. Go ahead, Sushilji.
I would just like to add a small, simple thing. I don't think it's talking about controlling the mind. What it's saying is self-control. And how is that self-control? That is by having the knowledge that is the likes and dislikes, which causes either problem for us. So as long as we know that these are the reasons, likes and dislikes is what's causing the problem. Whether you can control your mind or not does not make a difference, because controlling the mind is the most difficult thing. So he's saying it's the knowledge which can gain you this, what he's trying to say is just simple knowing this thing, and then you go from there.
Very good point. Because, very good point. That just understand this. And if you and now, when we go in chapter 3, he's going to go much, much more in detail that what is likes and dislike, where does it reside in you, and all that. A lot more is coming. So don't get, hey, this is it and I don't understand. He's going to make, Bhagavad Gita is quite amazing. It goes very much in detail. And then you will know how to get over this also. He's going to give you more tips. And by the end of it, you will get the complete hang of it. Okay? So everybody has to have patience. Okay, let's go further.
Here, as far as Vedantin is concerned, prasad is the mental purification, because that mind is considered as pure, which has felt in it the least sense disturbances. One who has learned to live on the principle of self-control and has also trained himself to live among the sense objects in a spirit of least attachment with or aversion for them, has the least disturbance because of the ineffectiveness of the sense objects upon him. Thereby, his mind automatically becomes more and more calm and tranquil, and is considered as pure prasada for purpose of spiritual life.
Here, we were all going back and forth. He summarized it the most beautifully here. That least disturbance is the prasad will dawn upon us. And how do we get least disturbance? When we don't have too much likes and dislikes. But we know, even when we travel, जो लोग बहुत नखरे करते हैं, they cannot never enjoy travel. Because you have to have an open, whatever comes, I gotta just accept it. I cannot say I want this kind of pillow, this kind of bed, this food only. I'm giving a simple example. Even that worldly example, you can see that if you have too many likes and dislikes, even people don't want to come near you. Oh my God, उस person को बुलाया तो मुझे ये खाना बनाना पड़ेगा, वो करना पड़ेगा. It's like, you not only become trouble for you, you become trouble for everybody around you. If you have very simple things also, likes and dislikes. I think it's better to just accept and become calm. Then better for you, better for the world, better for everybody. I don't know how everybody feels, but that's how I feel.
But all this, doesn't it start from the ignorance of who we are?
True, but that is a very highest level. True.
It is high level, but once you take that you're not, if you keep that in mind, and every instance, at every time, every thought, you can think about it. Okay, where am I going? What is my, you have to think of it at every step. It becomes a burden, but gradually you increase that, and then you become aware of it. Okay, I'm liking this. What is, why am I liking? When you go into the depths of it, at every step you can change yourself at that point. Change in the sense, understand it, why it's happening.
True. if you can go to the higher level, it becomes a lot easier, no doubt. If somebody can start seeing oneness, likes and dislike will drop like anything, you know.
But to get to that oneness, at least you have to have that, the clarity, or see, because you have to see at every point what's happening. Why you are thinking that way. It's not, and make a judgment for yourself, or decide for yourself. But unless we go to the depth of that for each thought that is happening in us, just by saying it's, even ignorance, or I'm not supposed to like and dislike, but why am I not liking it? This thing, what difference is it making? Once you get to that, what is it making any difference? If I don't like it, I don't have to have it. Okay, leave it alone. To me, it's like, okay, calming the mind at that point.
See, even though I didn't want to go too much in chapter 3, but I think now that we're having a discussion, what he will explain that likes and dislike, they suddenly come to you, like a roadside robber, he calls it, so it catches your mind when you don't even know it has caught your mind, okay? And then if you dwell on it too much, it goes deeper into your psyche, and it goes to the mind level, the emotion level, and then you give it hate and love. So it turns into hate and love. Now the intensity has gone higher, okay? From there,